My name is Dave Bryant. I'm the chairperson of the Standing Committee on Local Government, Environmental Affairs and Development Planning. Colleagues, I did in the first meeting try and see if we were able to ensure that everybody could put their videos on, but there do seem to be some ongoing challenges with breakups from a variety of speakers. So I am going to follow suit and also then just turn my video off during the proceedings, and other colleagues are welcome to do the same. Just in order to ensure that we get through the meeting and we don't have to go back and have repeat of discussions. I am then going to move on to the roll call, and we are now going to be entertaining the vote 14 on local government. Earlier on, we did the votes on environmental affairs and development planning, Cap Nature, and we're now going to talk to this item. First up, if I can check if Member Masipa is present.
Yes, present. Thank you, Chair.
Member Van Wyk.
Hi there, Chair. I'm present.
Member Wessels.
I am present, Chair.
Member Murray.
Morning, Chair. I'm present.
Member Constable.
Morning, Chair and colleagues. I'm present, Chair.
And then Member Stoffel.
I'm present, Chair.
Thanks very much. Without further ado, then, I'm going to hand over to the Minister and HOD Paulser to take us through a brief outline of the budget appropriation, and we will then go from there into some questions and answers and then a vote on the item. Minister Bradell, a big welcome to you, and over to you and your team.
Thank you, Honourable Chair and Honourable members of the committee and my colleagues. Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to present the 2025-2026 adjusted estimates for vote 14, the Department of Local Government. The adjusted estimate process allows us to realign our budget based on performance, updated priorities and financial realities facing the province. The original allocation for vote 14 for 2025-2026 was 440,022,000 rand. After adjustments, the revised budget is 332,990,000 rand. This represents a net decrease of 7,032,000 rand. Honourable Chair, honourable members of the committee, compensation for employees decreased by 6,281,000 rand. This will be utilised for service delivery pressures. 3,077,000 rand is realigned to the 2026-2027 to fund the energy specialist services providers to assist municipalities with demand-side management. Colleagues, the 2025-2026 adjustment estimate reflects responsible realignment of funds, ensuring that essential local government priorities remain supported and position the department to continue delivering on its mandate. But despite fiscal pressures, our focus remains on stability, efficiency and long-term resilience of the Western Cape. To take us through the presentation, I'm going to hand over to my HOD, Graham Paulser. Thank you, Honourable Chair and Honourable Committee members.
Good morning, Minister, and good morning, Honourable Chairperson and Honourable members, colleagues on the platform. Honourable Chairperson, if it's in order with you, if I just do a brief presentation. There is a presentation, but also infographic around the adjusted estimates.
Yes, in order.
Thank you. Let me just share it quickly, Chairperson. I'll put it on slideshow. So, Chairperson, perhaps as the Minister has indicated, the original budget allocation was 440. There has been adjustments made, pluses and minuses, and the net effect of that is 7 million, which caused the adjustment estimates to be at 432. So the first area that you see here is the rollover applications that we made to the Provincial Treasury. They've given us 3.794. and the adjustments that we've made internally in the department. And that has caused us to have an adjusted budget of just over 7 million. This is just the makeup of the rollover that we got from the Provincial Treasury. It is for procurement of laptops for Program 1 and Program 2. Obviously, we go through a refresh process within the department at regular intervals because some of the stuff gets outdated. And then you can also see the 3.254. That's largely for the contribution of the audiovisual equipment that has been replaced in the Disaster Management Center at this point in time. Chairperson, this is some of the realignment that we've done. You can see here, and I'll speak to it in a moment, that we have actually, there is slower filling of posts, and I will speak to that bit in a more detail. But the majority of this funding, where we said that we are not using the cost of employers, the majority of this funding we're getting back in the 26-27 years. So let me just talk quickly about the compensation of employers. We have made a management decision in the department, together with the chief directors and the CFO and myself, that we will actually fill the post and allocate the money for the filling of posts 1st April next year when the new financial year starts. We've got a number of posts now in the recruitment and selection process. There is adequate latitude in the budget. So if a person wants to start before the 1st of April, they can. Obviously, there must be a discussion and agreement that we can do so. So, for instance, we have now a director that will commence the 1st of February, but there's enough at the latitude in the budget to accommodate that. The fundamental reason why we shifted out the cost of employment, Chairperson, and I think there's a couple of contributing factors. The first is that, you know, that there was a DPSA directive where they say that the Premier in the province and the Executive Authority must now approve all filling of posts, critical posts. We now know that that directive has terminated, but there's our new directive that came in the 1st of June, applicable to all departments, that requires that any post that are being or is being advertised must be job evaluated. So now it needs to jump through an additional loop. And given the fact that we in the agency agreement with the Department of the Premier, they then must do the job evaluation, and that takes additional time. And we're not certain, given their own capacity, how speedily that process will actually be undertaken by the CSC in the Department of the Premier. So that was one of the contributing factors. It's also required, but within 16 months, that all the posts in the department must be job evaluated in the province. In addition to that, Chair, many of the posts that we have, or I will not say many, but a number of posts that we have are actually contract positions. So I can give you a typical example. By the time that we go through a recruitment and selection process, we allocate the letter of appointment and so on. Some of that people have found permanent jobs. Then we need to go through again to the recruitment and selection process. In actual fact, a candidate that has been successful in a contract post on a management level is now requesting to see me this afternoon. The contract is for a year. The person must leave a permanent position and come into a contract for a year. And I assume that there's uncertainty about job security and so on. And it's likely that the person will tell me, I'm not going to leave my permanent position for a contract position. And then we must start the recruitment and selection process again. So let me say what we've done in relation to that. In our MTech engagement with the Provincial Treasury and the other departments, we are now petitioning the Provincial Treasury to say, we in the department want to have certainty about the COE. So where we're doing things like water, energy, we get contract positions, money for a year, for 2 years, and the engineers, both for water and sanitation, requires job security. They don't want to come work just for a year or for 2 years. We have then petitioned the Provincial Treasury asking, give us certainty in terms of the COE. we're asking that you're converting these contract positions in the department to permanent posts so that we can advertise it as permanent. We can have people with the necessary skills and competence applying, and obviously we get appointed because there's more permanency in stuff like that. So we are still waiting the outcome of that with the Provincial Treasury. They've indicated to us they're looking favorably at it. And I think before the finalization of the 26-27 MTF process, we most probably will get a response from that. In addition, Chairperson, we are losing staff, but also to municipalities that are paying staff far higher salaries that we can. And just given the speed with what the recruitment and selection process is being undertaken in the province, I've offered in my MTech engagement, I've offered that either I'm making funding available to the Department of the Premier to appoint additional staff so that the recruitment and selection processes can be sped up, or otherwise I need to appoint people in the department to run my own recruitment and selection. It's only the Department of Education and Health that do their own recruitment and selection in the province. Other departments have all in agency agreements with the Department of the Premier to undertake the recruitment and selection process. So this program one, Chair, that money is coming back in the 26-27 year, and that is for municipal support and pre and post the local government elections. You know, we in the run up to the local government elections, program 2 the same. And then you can see we have surrendered 3,859, but for that we're getting back just over 3 million, and that is for the energy specialist providers to assist municipalities with the demand side management. It's not slide management, but side management. And you can see there's additional funding that we are moving to the audiovisual equipment. This is just per program, Chairperson, where we've taken the money and the net effect of it. You can see in administration, we added just for one local governance, we've reduced, as well as development and planning and traditional institutional management. And that's the COISAN work that we are doing. This is just by economic classification. And so you can see of the 966 that we are surrendering to the Provincial Revenue Fund, we're getting 935 back. And that is fundamentally for municipal pre and post election support, and also to create some COE stability in the department, particularly around energy. There are funds in terms of goods and services. And you can see how that funds is being applied for. You can see also it's earmarked funding, so we can't use it for any other thing than for what it has been intended for. And just on the transfers and subsidies, we have now given Prince Albert additional funding to the extent of 400,000 just to complete that fire truck that they commenced. And obviously we've made in a contribution to the South African SARSA, what they assist with search and rescue in the province. So that's the economic classification, Chair. This is just the alignment. So you can see it's the revenue retention of 24-25. That is 7.1. The provincial rollovers, that is for municipal support and local government elections, is 2.487. And then this, Chair, is the reallocation of it, and obviously the earmarked, and that is about 8.8 million. 9.8 million. And you can see that is of the 10.9 million that we've surrendered to the Provincial Revenue Fund. So, Chairperson, in conclusion, we are getting the majority of the funding back. We have made a strategic decision within the department around the COE, and we are getting the majority of that funding back. We will also continue to engage with the Provincial Treasury, as well as the, did I now go out? Yep, Chairperson. So and the Department of the Premier, particularly around the COE and how we manage the COE within the department to ensure that we have adequate capacity and skills in 2026-27. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thanks very much. Is there anything else, Mr. Paulser, from your side, or Mr. Minister, before we open for questions? Is that it?
That's it, Honourable Chairperson.
Fantastic. All right, colleagues, let's see some hands for inputs, questions of clarity. If you have any, I know that was a very comprehensive presentation, so I think it's probably covered a lot of bases already. We did also have a couple of questions on local government earlier in our other session. So over to you, colleagues. Any questions? We've got Member Masipa. Member Masipa, over to you.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Minister and HOD. I really welcome the efforts in terms of the COE. That's really the point I just wanted to make, really. Thank you very much for taking us in confidence in terms of the efforts that you're making to ensure that area is addressed, because I do think that, you know, across the departments, that's really one particular problem. And I think, you know, your best practice might also help other departments. But thank you very much, Minister and HOD, for all the work that you're doing.
Thank you very much, Member Masipa. Member Van Wyk.
Hi there, Chair. Yes, good morning to everyone. It's still morning. Yes, thank you very much for the presentation. I suppose the one question I just want to ask really relates to the weather conditions that we're having at present, and the concerns that we may be running into. On the one side, fire hazards over the next few months towards year end, as well as the water crisis that seems to be developing quite rapidly at a number of our municipalities. And the question really is, have we got sufficient funding sort of backup to deal with any of those type of crises that we might deal with? Perhaps just some thoughts on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Member Grant Murray.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Thank you to the HOD and the Minister. I welcome the efforts that's been made in terms of the COE. I do see value in the fact that they've taken the initiative to approach Provincial Treasury, and also the vision of having, you know, doing their own recruitment and selection process. I think it's because the department wants to own up and take control of what happens internally, and I welcome that. I just also, Honourable Van Wyk just touched on it briefly. I just wanted to ask in terms of the provisions made for fires in the next few months. You know, December last year, Drakensberg had 243 fires that they had to, and they looked to the province for assistance. Just wanted to know whether that has been taken into account anywhere in the adjustment budget. And yeah, and I welcome the initiatives taken in terms of the COE and others other factors that was announced. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much, Member Constable.
Thank you, Chair, and thanks, Mr. Paulser, for the presentation. Chair, yeah, I was covered by Mr. Paulser because the COE thing is becoming a problem, a challenge for all of us, and it's across the board. It's not only this department, it's all departments. But nevertheless, Mr. Paulser and Minister, on page 352, there's a move of, I think it's 559 Rand Program 2 with regards to capacity development, specifically on the municipal staff regulations. Now, I know that the municipal staff regulation was implemented, I think, in 2021, meaning 4 years is already down the line. What then triggered this kind of training? Is it specifically for municipalities or in your own department? And then how will this unfold? Will you do it yourself, or will there be a service provider doing this capacity building for you? Thank you, Chair.
Thanks. And finally, Member Stoffel.
Thank you very much, Chair. And good morning to everyone once again. Chair, let me appreciate the comments and from the Minister and also the HOD. Yes, Chair, there is some progress within the department in terms with certain implementations, and that has been highlighted by the committee before, and we really appreciate that. And let me give my comments in terms of the opening remarks of the MEC and also the HOD. In terms of the disaster management, we acknowledge the good work that they are doing, especially with the recent fires here in our local areas and also in the entire province. We really appreciate that. And then also, but I think in terms of the disaster management, there should be a kind of a concentration from the disaster management in terms of the far rural areas. I have mentioned this, and I find a bit of uncomfortability, Chair, with what the HOD have advised within that, to say I must write something to them and mention this. Whilst to me, they were supposed to be familiar with these areas that I'm alluding to. Because Van Wyksdorp, everyone knows Van Wyksdorp in Ghanaland. Everyone knows the rest. Everyone knows Wesselsdorp. So those are places that I cannot write something for, because it's under Oudtshoorn municipality, it's under Ghanaland municipality, and so can I mention. The issue there is that there should be a kind of a research that must go in and look into the matter that I'm registering, because my advice is to say those areas are more than almost 50 km from the nearest town, whereby there's no fire units, emergency services in terms when it comes to fires, whereby this informal settlement or in any area, it can be wildfires, it can be everything. So I think they should really go and try to establish these units that we are saying, these emergency units, because it's not fair towards the people of that areas to wait for fire emergency from George, 250 km, from Ghanaland, 45 kilometers from them. And when they arrive there, the fire is all over and we sit with fatalities, and we cannot afford that. So I want the department to look into that. And also we want to appreciate the efforts that the disaster management is doing. We can see there's a lot of people is getting the training, but you can't utilize the people on one place or just only for a specific reason, like the wildfires. This is the people that's supposed to be distributed to these smaller places that we are talking about, that where they can be a rapid, speedily emergency response team. And but I'm just mentioning that, Chairperson, with the hopes that the department will look into and try to remedy what can be remedied, and try to safeguard against these wildfires during the festive season. Then, in terms of the department, I want us to go to page 449, 349. Sorry, Chair. The heading there is amount to be appropriated. point of reference, the Department of Local Government main appropriation is, as indicated by the MEC, 440 million was been reduced into adjusted budget of 432 million, representing a net decrease of 7.32 million. Fine, but my comment on that is, as well as all know, next year is the year of election, and he have mentioned that. And we have these struggling municipalities in the province. How will the department then, in terms of the reduction in this adjusted budget, that's with no further undermining its ability to support those struggling municipalities? Yes, we are aware these reductions directly reinforce long outstanding concerns in these municipalities. We recently raised during the annual reports about the underspending and the inability to fill critical posts from the same department and municipalities, factors that undermine service delivery. So we want to know what is the department going to do that. I have listened to the HOD. He have mentioned from the department side in the province to say how are they going to tackle this issue of filling the vacancies, these critical vacancies. And I really appreciate, other than the other department that just give us the story and they never come up with solutions. Here we are hearing solutions, and I think that is very progressive from the HOD and its department. And then on page 350 to 351, I think, Chair, that question was being touched on by comrade, by member Nkondlo. But I just wanted to know from the department in terms of table 4.1, payments and estimated per program and per economic classification. There's a rollover there, and I want to check funds rollover for delayed procurement. And mostly the procurement was on laptops and infrastructure upgrade, audiovisual at disaster management center. So I want to check what is the cause of the delay in the procurement and upgrades, and what measures are in place to prevent recurring delays in the procurement and infrastructure upgrade in future budget cycles. So I'm not going to touch on the SOEs. There was a question about it from both members, Member Constable and Member Gondlo before. My other question is going to 355, other adjustments by 10 million, the concerns reduction. The reduction are extremely concerned because, first of all, the disaster management already suffers delay in project rollout, like water and waterways support is a key crisis area in multi-municipalities with failing infrastructure. We are sitting with juries that is running all over. We are sitting also with problems in our municipalities. Last week, there was a lady being taken out of a drain because of the juries that is been dumping in some area there, and she fall in there. I don't know what is the investigation saying about it, and I don't want to go into that.
Sure. So Member Stoffel, thanks. You've asked quite a lot of very good questions. I just want to see if you can maybe just wrap up, because I know we might be a little bit limited on time, okay. And we obviously want to get those comprehensive answers as well.
And coupled with that, the inability to recruit scarce skills is now formally acknowledged. But I want to extend that to say the department must start to look into internal development. from the current staff members to send them to universities so that we cannot sit with this problem of scarce skills people within the department. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much, Member Stoffel-Shaw. Colleagues, we got through a lot of questions there. We might only have to do one round because I think everybody asked a lot of questions, but we'll see. Maybe we'll do another round afterwards if we have time. Minister, over to you and HOD Paulson, and I think probably Mr. Diner as well, but you decide how you'd like to answer. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I'm going to leave it to the HOD and Mr. Diner to answer. If there's any gaps, I will fill in. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister and Honourable Chairperson. So thank you for the comments around the COE. I've personally intervened with the Department of the Premier CSC. I mean, there's a number of posts that were delayed in terms of particularly the senior management positions. Obviously, it requires a lot of submissions and so on. And I must say, the person that I dealt with also on the senior management level in the Department of the Premier has responded well. It would be ideal if we can fast track the filling of the positions much quicker, and I agree to that. But we've done additional work, particularly with the Department of the Premier, to ensure that the posts are filled faster than what we currently experiencing. And just perhaps on the last question of Honourable Member Stoffel around the internal capacity, this department has most probably promoted the most internal staff. We are giving we are employing interns, we are employing graduate interns, and we're giving bursaries to internal staff to go and study to further their qualifications so that we can actually get our own timber and appoint from the staff internally within the organization. Just in relation to the question of Honourable Member Van Wyk around the weather conditions, I think Colin can also respond. We have adequate funding, just from a funding perspective, in relation to water. We've shifted additional funding to fires. So if we do require funding for water and to deal with the rapid response in relation to water, I'm convinced that we can actually access that funding. We are now busy with many municipalities in relation to water. And although there is less rainfall and less water in the rivers, what our initial assessment indicates, it's largely contributed by the management of water and how municipalities actually manage their water within the province. Colin can just talk about the fires and to what extent we have responded to the fires. Staff regulations, Chairperson, I think Honourable Member Constable has asked that question. It's a legislation that national government or National Department of Cooperative Governance have introduced that require both municipalities and the province now to do additional work with staff appointments in municipalities. But that came without resources from the national department or the national government. There's no additional funding in our baseline for that. And we now need to use our existing funding to create internal capacity to deal with the requirements of the regulations within the department and ensure that both the department and municipalities are compliant with that. And that's why you see that shift. You see that shift there, Honourable Chairperson. Just back on the question of Honourable Member Stoffel. So we didn't say that she must write something. We said give us the information around it and we will look into it. But we now have the names. It's Van Wyksdorp, the Rust, Duiselsdorp, and places like that. The Minister, under the direction of the Ministers, we have most probably allocated more than 100 million for firefighting capacity. We've given skid units to municipalities with fire engines, pumpers, and all sorts of things. So if we understand what it is, we could potentially look at perhaps, and Collins would also advise, and Etienne, to put a skid unit there, just a normal bucket with a 1,000 litre with a pipe and so on, in close to areas like that, Chairperson. But Colin can also report on that. So you can see the reduction, because we know it is for the upcoming local government elections. We've taken the money that we surrendered now, Honourable Chairperson, and we put it towards support for next year. We know we're going into local government elections, and therefore we've asked Treasury to take that money now and give it us back in the new year, but particularly to put it at support, because we know it's a run-up to the local government elections and municipalities will require additional support. I've also created in the department some kind of reserve where we put some funding. So we know where there's emergencies and we need to respond rapidly, that we can access that funding much quicker and that we can support the municipalities in regard to that. And then just the payment, the delayed procurement that the honourable member has raised around the delays with procurement. This is, Honourable Chairperson, where we have a budgeted amount. We go out and tender, the prices come back and the prices are much higher than what we have budgeted for. And obviously it will be irresponsible to conclude a tender on the basis that you don't have adequate funding for that service that you're in. And then we must go rewrite the specs and look at the specs, how we can come within the budget and the work that they require from various service providers in that. Chairperson, I'm going to ask Colin perhaps to add.
Thank you, HOD. Good afternoon, Honourable Chair and Honourable members. So just to cover a number of things. So yes, as the HOD has mentioned, we are expecting a much more intense wildfire season. We did think that it would happen last year after the 22 and 23 flooding events. We expected a much denser situation as far as wildfires were concerned, but it seems that the relatively drier winter this year has actually moved it to this season with a lot more biomass. We did during the last year's budget provide 3 million rand to the fire protection associations, which did quite a lot of prevention work, and that will obviously manifest now in terms of our prevention programs. However, it is a big province and we do have a large wildfire risk. So we have already had additional funding provided for aerial support. We have 23 aircraft across the province in different areas. And we implemented about 13 years ago, we implemented a rapid attack program. So what that basically comes down to is that we no longer wait for a fire to get to the point where it is of such a nature that you can't do without helicopters and without aerial support. So what we do is we send our aerial support very, very quickly. We have an agreement with the municipalities that if they call us in the first 10 minutes of an incident happening and it's in a high-risk area, we will immediately send our aircraft, and then we will use the first hour to try and control that incident. That means that we have a much less chance of the fire expanding. We do have a 95% success rate on this. So we really control most of the fires within the first hour. If the fire is still burning larger after the first hour, then the municipality needs to make a decision. Do we proceed with the aerial attack? And then it will be at their cost, or can we manage this fire without an aerial attack? So it is so that some fires start very large, they're in very high areas. A lot of wind is blowing. It's not really accessible by helicopter or by aircraft. And then these fires do get larger. And for that, we obviously have a plan to expand. So we also bring in additional firefighters. So in addition to the 1,550 municipal firefighters across the province, we also bring in 1,020 seasonal firefighters. And then there's also additional ground teams that are deployed across the province. So there's a large resource that we can use in terms of that. We do, as I said, we do expect quite an intense season. It's always very difficult to try and quantify. We look at historical information to try and see what funding we will require, but we've never run out of funds. If we have got to a point where funding has sort of like been depleted, we go to the HOD, we have meetings with Treasury, and they ensure that we have funds. So it's never been a situation over the last 15 years that we've taken over this program that we've not had funding. So that will proceed as we go on. As far as the risk profiles are concerned, that was asked by Member Stoffels. I think the important thing here is that we do have a risk profile. So the way that we do this is we do a scientific risk assessment, and there we work with people like the Council for Geoscience, Weather Services, various universities, and they give us a scientific assessment of what the various disaster risks are. But what we then also do is we go into the communities and we then have meetings with the communities, because you can learn so much from a person who is living in a specific area and has lived there for 30 or 40 years or their entire life, who can give you so much more information on what these risks are. And then we combine those two. So we have a very good risk profile of the province. We will be very happy to share that with the committee. But I think what the question was, and what HOD Paulse also mentioned, was there are so many areas where people are, and to find out about those isolated problems, it's always very helpful if people do speak to us and inform us that they have a specific problem. Within your risk profile, it's very difficult to cover the entire province in very great detail. So if we can receive that information, it's really just a question of then we can add that to our risk profile and we can see how to mitigate it. That said, we did start a program a couple of years ago where we started buying emergency vehicles, rescue equipment, fire trucks, tankers for municipalities. Every single municipality in the province has benefited from this. It continues. As the HOD mentioned, we've spent more than 100 million rand on this project already. And in fact, since 2011, the province has spent 250 million rand on firefighting and rescue support within the province. So we're continuing to fund these areas. As we identify an area where they still need resources, we will place it in those areas. And then just as far as the funding for the video wall is concerned, so we are in the process of having to relocate the disaster center to make way for the new Tygerberg Hospital. And just in order to make sure that we can move all our equipment, our audiovisual equipment within that time without any major problems, we have requested to have that funding available for that. HOD, I don't know if there's anything else that I need to cover.
That's fine, Colin. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, HOD and Mr. Diner. Colleagues, it is 12 minutes past 12, so we are running a little bit over time. Are there any other burning questions that anybody needs to ask? Any very important follow-ups? No? All right. Thank you very much to Minister Bredell. Oh, sorry, I see Member Stoffel's got her hand up. Member Stoffel, I'll take your hand quickly.
Yes, Chair. Chair, I just want to check with the HOD because he have mentioned that. And if I'm not going to mention that, it will be omission from my side. In terms of the traditional institutional management, how is the province to ensure that the traditional institutional management function are not weakened by the ongoing resource constraint? Remember the last time we have asked the HOD or the department to say they must come and have a presentation for us in terms when it comes to the traditional the traditional program. Can they maybe assure us to say is there been budgeted for, and when is this going to get in realization?
Sorry, Member Stoffel, can you just explain what you mean by traditional? Are you talking about traditional leadership or?
My question is based on page 358. My question, and then the heading there is the expenditure of care when compared to the same period in 2024 and 2025 is due to the appointment of a capacity funded policy priority funding. The additional appointment is to assist in the implementation of the Tradition and Khoisan Leader Act.
Yes, okay, that's it. Sorry, that's it.
Yes.
Sorry, I was just looking.
So
I was just looking for that last bit because I just got traditional, and one could think maybe that's a traditional way of doing municipal government or something along those lines. But that's perfect. Traditional leadership, excellent. Mr. Paulse?
Honourable Chairperson, just briefly, the National Minister, Minister Lubisha, has gone and approached the Constitutional Court. The Constitutional Court has agreed to extend the implementation of the Khoisan legislation by additional 2 years. Obviously, they need to do a public participation process. But regardless of that, Chairperson, we've convinced the Provincial Treasury to give us some funding so that we can create internal capacity, appoint people, because when there are applications and the National Commission writes to the Premier to say, we've assessed this, we think that these groups must be recognized in the province, and obviously the Premier is required to do a due diligence process. Now that function, the Premier has given to the Minister Pradal and this department, and obviously we need to advise both the Minister and the Premier on the recognition status of those groups that do apply via the Commission. And for that reason, we are getting additional capacity and readying ourselves for the implementation of the Khoisan legislation within the province. Chairperson, thanks.
Thank you, Member Constable. Very quickly, if possible, colleagues.
No, Chair, there is just a comment and appreciation to Mr. Paulson and the MEC for that capacity, because it was a problem for us last time when we asked them. They were said there was only one person in the department.
Thanks very much. Mr. Paulson, would you like to respond?
Chairperson, no, it's I mean the comment is taken. Thank you very much.
Okay, fantastic. All right, thank you, Minister. HOD and your team, you are welcome to leave, and thank you so much for all of your inputs and for being so open and transparent.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you to the committee.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, then, colleagues, we're just going to move then to the last bit of our agenda. So I then will put the vote to the members. Mr. Kutsia, unfortunately, I don't have the page numbers here. Can you just give us the page numbers specifically?
Sorry, Chairperson. I was now just sharing the report. They are. Okay, let me just get to them.
Sorry, the documents that you sent me, one of them was a duplicate.
It's from page 349.
Yes.
To page
364.
To 364.
That's it. Okay, thank you very much. Colleagues, I'm going to put that to the committee, please. And I will then see, are there any votes against us accepting that? Please raise your hands if you are in opposition. Member Stoffel, I'll come to you in a second. Anybody else? All right, Member Stoffel.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, as the ANC want to express our minority view towards the adjustment budget vote for 14. The reason, therefore, is the decrease in the adjustment budget that we believe it will delay the service delivery process. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much. Are there any abstentions? So, Member Stoffel, you just put your hand down.
Oh, sorry.
No problem. Okay. Colleagues, any abstentions? Oh, hands up again. I'll put it down. There you go. I'll put it down for you. There we go. Any abstentions, colleagues? No? All right. So then can we take it that the rest of the members are in support? If not, then please speak now. Thank you very much. We there have
we support.
Final. Excellent. Thank you very much. We there have the final report. So the other members are all in support. So the committee report of the Standing Committee on Local Government, Environmental Affairs and Development Planning on vote 14, local government, and the schedule to the Western Cape Adjustments Appropriation Bill B5 2025, dated the 5th of December 2025, as follows. Standing Committee on Local Government, Environmental Affairs and Development Planning, having deliberated on the subject of vote 14, local government, in the schedule to the Western Cape Adjustments Appropriation Bill B5 2025, referred to the committee in accordance with Standing Rule 188, reports that it supports the vote. In accordance with Standing Rule 90, the African National Congress expressed its minority view that it does not support the vote. Colleagues, thank you very much for participating in this vote and the discussion. Mr. Coetzee, do we have any other items that we have remaining on the agenda?
Nothing else, Chair, except to say have a good weekend.
Thank you very much. Some of us have to come back for another meeting later on budget. So we'll put that off until 6 p.m. tonight. But thank you very much. And colleagues, I'm sure we'll see some of you later. Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Cheers. Bye.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Thanks,
Bye
Norm.
bye, everyone.
I listen. Tell me, are you all right?
All right, thanks.
Yeah. So what do you make of Mario's resignation?
Hey, I'm still surprised. I'm so, you know,
Yeah.
it,
It comes actually as a bit of a surprise because it don't.
yeah, it's so surprised. Yeah, we knew that. Yeah, he was not okay, but
Yeah.
didn't expect it. It's this one.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it goes. What's happening?
Yeah. Are you coming on the 10th?
Norms, the plan is, but I'm thinking also I'm struggling to move then, but I might have to come into the office to do my PMS for Johan. So I think maybe I'll come in that Wednesday morning early, do my PMS.
Or
and
maybe
then,
you can ask Sia or Siraj or Candice to connect you to VPN. Then you don't have to come to the office.
Yeah. Maybe I must see that quickly on Monday. If I can get it right on Monday, then yeah. But I wanted to come through on Wednesday, yeah. But otherwise, if it works, then I'll see you on Wednesday, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, because Sharon said she can give you a lift. She can go fetch you in the morning. Then you drive together.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
I will let you know.
Okay.
Okay then.
Bye.
Bye. Hello.